welcome to the FullTime FBA Show. In each episode, it's our goal to help you turn part-time hours into a full-time income selling almost anything on Amazon. And now, your hosts of the show, Stephen and Rebecca Smotherman.
Hello there, and welcome to another episode of the FullTime FBA Show. We're on episode number 262. That's a nice little palindrome there, 262. And we're going to be talking about the 4 most important habits to develop as an FBA seller. With me to talk about this topic is my habitually favorite person, Stephen Smotherman, my husband and my co-host, and my business partner. Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you. Just a warning, I can be habit forming for you. And so
hopefully this podcast has been habit forming.
Yes.
We hope that we're helpful and that you just listen to one after the other.
And you just keep coming back for more. And so we appreciate it.
All right, let's get into today's topic. First thing we want to talk about is making sure that you are subscribed to the FullTime FBA newsletter. We send out a newsletter once or twice a week with information about new podcast episodes, videos, upcoming trainings, and you can subscribe to that newsletter at fulltimefba.com. Get signed up with your email. You'll get some free PDFs, some really great information there on the website, and you'll get our weekly newsletter at that point. Now, back into our topic for today, and I want to be straight with you. We can do an entire episode or even series of episodes on all of the bad habits that Amazon sellers practice. We might do that one day. But right now, today, we're going to focus on the positive side of things. We like to do that. We prefer to be positive around here. Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk through the absolute best habits for Amazon FBA sellers to focus on improving so that they can grow their business.
I love this topic because, and I quote James Clear, author of the highly recommended book, Atomic Habits. He says, the most important habit is choosing the right habit to work on. And that's what we're going to tell you. We're going to tell you the right habits to work on if you want to be a successful Amazon seller. So let's jump right into it.
Okay, habit number 1, and we're going to start off with a big one here, is intentional planning. Most people, when they start selling on Amazon, they're excited about the possibilities, and that excitement fuels them to get stuff done. They start learning, they get some coaching, they order the right supplies, they might get a business bank account set up right off the bat, they open up their Amazon seller account, maybe they even buy some inventory. But after that honeymoon phase has started passing, and when the excitement of what's possible graduates into actually doing the hard work, then many people end up dropping out because it's more fun to dream than it is to actually work hard. Mm-hmm. And hard work is where that magic happens in your FBA business. When you're no longer motivated by those possibilities, then you need the habit of strategic and intentional planning to actually follow through with doing that hard work. Basically, if you're still just relying on sourcing inventory when you have time, quote unquote, then you're on the path to failure because honestly, when do any of us have time?
And that's a hard truth, but it's a truth nonetheless. I'm going to throw another author quote in here. David Allen, author of the book Getting Things Done, says, if it's not scheduled, it's not going to get done. Now, we know there's exceptions to this, especially when we're in the beginning stages. But like Rebecca said, when the honeymoon of your new business is over, we need to build up the habit of strategic and intentional planning. In fact, that's one of the steps we cover with our Sourcing Success Worksheet. We talked about that in episode 259 recently, but to intentionally plan when you're going to source for inventory, when you're going to process that inventory to send to Amazon, when you're going to outsource something, when you're going to go do this, when you're going to do that. Again, if you don't schedule those tasks, then it's easier to ignore those tasks. Think about it this way. What are the things you actually put on your personal calendar? Think about that. You put the most important dates, important birthdays you want to remember, family gatherings you don't want to miss, deadlines that are important to remember, things like that.
Dates with each other.
Oh, yes.
Date night. That gets put on the calendar.
Absolutely.
If you're not in the habit of making intentional plans for what to do and when you're going to do it when you're working on your Amazon business, then we hate to break it to you, you're almost never going to accomplish anything in your business. Months will pass, your business won't grow, and you're going to come to the conclusion that this Amazon thing just doesn't work. When in reality, you're not working. You're not doing the work because you have not made it a priority enough to put it on the calendar and follow through with the work that needs to get done.
Yeah, it's almost like signing up for a gym membership to get in shape, but then you never schedule a time to consistently go and work out. You just work out when you can fit it in your schedule, and after a few months, you cancel that membership because it's not working. So habit number 1 to work on improving the habit of intentional planning.
Okay, habit number 2 that we're going to talk about today kind of goes hand in hand with intentional planning, and it's this: consistent action. Planning is important, but if you really want to grow your Amazon business, you need to be consistent about working on it. Just like with Steven's gym analogy and how you need to put in the reps to build up your muscles, you also need to put in consistent work to really grow your business.
Yeah, and listen, we know that this is not some huge game-changing tip that you've never heard before, but it's still something that most Amazon sellers or wannabe Amazon sellers have a hard time actually following through with. Forming the habit of consistently setting up regular rhythms of working in your Amazon business can be hard to do, even when we know we need to do it, and it can be hard to follow through with actually doing it. Think of it this way: if you hired a CEO to run your Amazon business, you paid them generously to be your CEO, and they ran things exactly like you do now, would you be happy with that? Or would you need to bring them in for a little talk on how things should be run? Many Amazon sellers think, of course, if I get a course, I'm going to be successful. Or if I sign up for coaching, then I'm going to be successful. But if you don't actually match the course or the coaching with the hard work, then nothing's going to help you take you to success. The only thing that leads to results is taking action. Now, a course or coaching can help you know which actions to take and in what order and help you overcome speed bumps along the way. But the main source of your success is going to be your consistency with the actions you prioritize and put on that calendar to follow through with.
Many people really know deep down that they need to take action, but then they don't actually do it. So if this is you, and it's been me many a time, then working on improving the habit to make intentional plans and putting those plans on the calendar, maybe even by setting scheduled reminders on your phone, all of that will help you follow through with being consistent in doing the hard work. But how can Amazon sellers know with confidence what they're supposed to do first or do next in growing their Amazon business? The answer to that is found in our next habit that we need to grow if we want to find success, and that is get comfortable with failure.
This one hurts, but it's so true. One of the biggest roadblocks that is stopping many of you from finding success is the fear of failure. And that makes sense because failure, it's the worst. No one likes failure. But when you really think about it, what's the best way to learn? By breaking down why things were not done successfully the first time and why we failed, we can improve upon things to move forward, getting closer and closer to success until we start achieving our goals. You probably don't remember this, but you did not start walking around the day you were born. Some animal species actually do this the day they're born, but we do not. When we are born, we're just there. Then we start to wiggle around, and a few months later, we can turn over, and then months later, we stand, and then it just takes time before we start taking steps, and then we fall down, and then and the process goes, you know what I'm talking about, until we finally achieve our goal of walking. And we can go on and on about how we need to fail to learn to do anything in life. And running an Amazon business, it's no different when it comes to how comfortable we need to get with failure. But get this, the more comfortable we get with failure, the faster we can find the success that we're looking for. Hall of Fame NBA basketball player Michael Jordan is quoted, we're doing a lot of quotes today, is quoted as saying, "I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that's why I succeed." To bring a little more context to this quote, let me actually read the full quote from Jordan. He said, "In my basketball career, I've missed over 9,000 shots. I've lost over 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted with taking the game-winning shot at the end of the game and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that's why I succeed." Yes, coaching is important. Michael Jordan needed a coach, but actually taking action on a consistent basis and getting more comfortable with failure so you can tweak and update things and your consistent actions, that's what's going to move the needle closer towards success.
Yes, failing is hard, but when we fail, it doesn't mean that we should give up. It means that we have an opportunity to learn what went wrong and how to change it for the next time. Now we've got a quote from Jonas Salk. Yeah, what's with all the quotes today, Stephen?
It's a very quotable episode.
Jonas Salk. He's an American virologist and a medical researcher who developed one of the first successful polio vaccines. And he said, there is no such thing as a failed experiment because learning what doesn't work is a necessary step to learning what does. It's basically the scientific method right there.
Basically.
You have to try things out and fail at them before you can get to what succeeds. So in your Amazon business, especially for beginners, you're going to start seeing everything you do as an experiment if you want to be successful. So here's something that looks profitable to sell on Amazon. I'll experiment and see how quickly or slowly it sells. Then if things go well, see what you learned from that experiment. Or if things did not go well, see that failure in a different light. For example, you find some profitable inventory, you send it to Amazon, but it never sells. And all your competition is now tanking the prices so low, you'd actually lose money if you sell your item at the new lower price. That was not a success. But can you find out what went wrong and learn from it so that you don't repeat that mistake? Then you can have a successful learning experience. So here's the cold, hard truth. Your best lessons that you're going to learn are going to be from your mistakes.
Yeah. And it might sound counterintuitive, but the most successful Amazon sellers have probably failed more times than you've even attempted something. And I know it's hard, but working on the habit of getting comfortable with failure will be a huge step in moving things forward in your Amazon business.
The final habit that we want to discuss today that's going to help you find success as an Amazon seller is this: accountability. Basically, scheduling your actions is a form of accountability, and the fact that you have your scheduled tasks keeping you accountable to get things done. And if you are an iPhone user, Siri is going to keep you accountable with that. I don't know what the comparable thing is on Android.
Yeah.
But nothing beats the accountability of a human being, though, especially one who knows what you're going through and the goals you're aiming to achieve. For Amazon sellers, the best accountability is found with other Amazon sellers who have similar goals.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I just love the Full-Time FBA Coaching program. Our clients come together, we learn together, we grow together, and it's pretty awesome seeing that happen in our group coaching calls. And just so you know, at the end of every one of our group coaching calls, everyone on the call shares their main goals for their Amazon business. And so number one, hearing the goals of others is inspiring. Number two, sharing your goals with others helps you actually stay focused on achieving those goals, because sharing goals is actually how we end our calls. But what we do at the beginning of our calls is we're sharing our wins, and usually those wins match up with the goals that were shared on the previous calls. And so it's really encouraging and exciting.
So if you're listening to this episode and you want some help with intentional business planning, taking consistent action, getting comfortable with failure, and finding a regular pattern of accountability, we invite you to join us in the Full-Time FBA Coaching program. For more information, you can check out our coaching program at fulltimefba.com/coaching.
Yeah, and as a reminder, we have a Q4 Income Accelerator workshop coming up. It's a 5-day workshop where we're going to share with you how you can use the power of Q4 to jumpstart the process of making a full-time income selling on Amazon, kind of give you an idea of what the Full-Time FBA Coaching program is about and what's involved in that. And you can get more details and sign up for the free workshop by going to fulltimefba.com/Q4 workshop. And seriously, we can't wait to see you there.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Full-Time FBA Show. As a reminder, all of the links we've mentioned in this episode can be found with the show notes at fulltimefba.com/262, including the books that were mentioned at the top of the show.
And next week on the show, we're going to talk about why Q4 is an optimal time to start selling on Amazon. Q4 is here, and it's so good for you beginners. So we'll get into that next week on the Full-Time FBA Show.
That's all for this episode of the Full-Time FBA Show. So head over to fulltimefba.com/podcast, where you'll find the show notes and links from this episode. While you're there, subscribe to our newsletter, where you'll get several free downloads of our popular and helpful Amazon FBA resources. Now, take action on what you've learned today so you can find success at turning part-time hours into a full-time income with Amazon FBA.